Steps to making a bow drill fire are relatively simple, but they do require a lot of practice. Even people who know how to do bow drill fires often screw up and will have a lot of failures. One thing I've learned along the way is that the more failure you have, the more unlikely you're going to have a fire for that night. So if I usually screw this up, once or twice, there's a good chance that I'm not going to have a fire the rest of the night. And that does happen, and you can survive without a fire, and I'll show you some tricks about that if we have to. However, tonight I'd prefer to have a fire. So I went ahead and carved out this little piece of hearthboard. This is coming from the pine. It's very easy to use, and I just batoned it out just like I did the wood earlier. So you're going to choose your hearthboard. Doesn't really matter too much about the size. I've seen people use sticks off of a tree and you just flatten it out, and I've seen some people use very large pieces just like this one. This does give me more room for error, however, and I can use more tries on this one. Next, you're going to make sure that you do have the softwoods for this. Softwoods works better, but if you don't have softwood in your area, again, you can use hardwood, but it does burn more calories, and you're going to have a lot harder time to get that fire going. So you carve your spindle out. Your spindle is usually the size of your forearm, and what that does, this one lacks maybe an inch or so, but it does work. So the spindle is usually the size of your forearm, and this one's a little bit of a harder wood, but it's still decently soft. And what you're going to do with this is you want to try to make sure it's of the same wood as your hearthboard, but if you can't, it's okay yet again. Just make sure it's not extremely hard and your hearthboard's not extremely soft, if that makes sense. Hearthboard's also known as a fireboard. Your bow drill, just find something that's in the natural shape of this, or even something that's got a bend to it. This works great for me. It's got a natural edge to it. Just look around. This is one of the best ones I could find. Now this is actually made out of a hardwood, and it's very, very hard. So there's no way you could use this as a hearthboard or anything like that unless you just wanted to absolutely go crazy on it. Now you use some paracord. I've just got a few feet of paracord here, and again, paracord is something I don't like cutting because I like to make sure I keep my links, because eventually after cutting and cutting and cutting on it, you're going to get these small little strands that just become useless, and you're not going to have anything left of it. So I do have some paracord on here, and I just went ahead and tied it around. What you want to do is you want to make this relatively tight. That's the problem a lot of people have problems with at first, is the tightness of this and not knowing exactly where to begin at. The idea is you want it to be tense enough to where you can usually twing it, see the vibration in it, and you're going to make sure that your spindle goes in there, and when you put it in, it's going to want to do circles when you release it, and it's going to throw it out. And I'll show that in a live demonstration in a minute. Now, typically speaking, I don't normally do a lot of knots in this just because it's kind of unnecessary and I'm usually holding it, but on this one end I will go ahead and do a secure knot, and just do a simple slip knot is all this is. So you just take, and when you've got it wrapped around, you've got your cord. So we'll go back. This is just wrapping it around. It goes underneath, up, back through the hole here, and you just kind of, instead of pulling it all the way through, you just pull that little hoop pull, and then what that does is it just pulls here. And if you want to double secure that, again, all you have to do is just kind of pull that loop down just a little bit, go ahead and pull this back through just like you did the first one, but just don't pull it all the way through, or else it won't be a slip knot anymore and you'll have a decent knot on your hands. So a slip knot, it just simply means that you can just pull it by one cord and it comes on out. So I am going to secure this one end up here and just kind of tighten this up just a little bit with it, and then we should have a decent bow going. So we'll go ahead and start the fire now, and I'll show you how to knock your hearthboard.